Hey everyone, welcome to Behind the Scene. I am your host, Trixie. I am one of the founders of the Film Collective. Today we are super excited and really happy to have some of the cast and crew of HIRAYA. Let us go across and let's do some introductions. I don't know if you guys see the same order I see, so I'm just going to call out your names. So let's start with AJ.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thanks for letting me be in this digital space and joining you on this weird time in life post pandemic. I'm AJ Pawan. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm an actor, director, and creator based in San Diego. I went to school at UCSD. And I'm also the director and one of the producers for Haraya, a devised piece. Are we popcorning this? Is this like a
Oh,
little
we can do that. We can popcorn. Go
okay?
ahead and popcorn.
Okay, I'll popcorn it on to Bella.
I knew it. Hi, my name is Isabella Joy. I am an actress based in Los Angeles. And for Hiraya, I play Janica as well as writing a couple of the pages. And I'm going to popcorn it to Lauren.
Oh my gosh, you guys are both so much more formal than I am. I'm Lauren Del Mar. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I was an associate director for Haraya, and I as well wrote a couple scenes. And I will popcorn it over to Kaylee.
Oh my god, me picked last. Elementary school? Again? My name is Kaylee. My pronouns are she, they. I don't care which. I am. I don't like to. I'm an artist based in San Diego. And for this project, I played Maria, and I also helped devise some scenes as everyone else did.
Yay! Well, welcome all of you. Thank you for being here. So, my first question is how did this piece come about? I will let AJ start so that someone can
All
start
right.
and then you can popcorn it more if you would like.
Yes, definitely. Okay, so if you hear my dog, that's him crying in the background for attention. It's fine. Um, Haraya device piece was truly a random idea in my brain since 2020, especially with the rise of a lot of the Asian hate crimes that was happening during and post pandemic. There was a strong need for myself, really selfishly, for community, and as well as an outlet to tell my personal story as a Filipina American. And so, because everything during 2020 was done digitally, there were a lot of restrictions as to what we could do in terms of theater. And so we had, Hamilton come out on Disney Plus. We had a lot of recordings, a lot of Zoom theater happening in this space at that weird time in our lives. And I then therefore took that as an opportunity to actually find other artists outside of San Diego whom I can collaborate with. And so I really truthfully just posted a bunch on Facebook groups about me having this idea to do a devised piece. I don't know about what or about whom, but it's going to be about Filipino women. And I posted it online. I know Bella found me through TikTok. I made a TikTok about it. I was emailing people, just truly a huge online campaign to just see and know because I know that there are creatives out there that want to do something similar, or if not need something similar than what I needed. And so from there it blossomed and it formulated into a group of writers from all over the country, but also from the Philippines as well. And it's been a couple years since then. Obviously, we're 2 years into this project, and that's sort of how it started. And so it's truly a passion project um, that I needed, truthfully. And I'll let I know all of these young women here actually have been a part of the very early stages of this project and just have joined shortly after I planted the seed. So I'll popcorn it to whomever else feels like there's something you want to add on to.
Oh, and whoever else goes next, can you give us kind of like a quick plot? I realized I'm like, oh, maybe I should have asked for that first. So whoever goes, that's also you.
I feel confident on delivering a cohesive plot. But I would say that there are a lot of storylines in this piece that are just exploring different Filipino American experiences or Filipina immigrant experiences. Stuff having to do with beauty standards, Filipino beauty standards, and also the beauty standards we as Filipino American or Filipinx American people deal with living in America. Um, Queerness as a Filipinx person. Um, Familial relationships and how that looks like, and also the struggle during COVID with Filipinx healthcare workers. I hope I'm not leaving anything out, but it was mostly all of that, and all together it's having to do with like a Filipina family unit and just exploring everyone's lives together and individually. That's what Hiraya is about. uh so my involvement with this project, I met AJ doing a show called Lit with Blind Spot Collective. We were filming, and we actually had our filming day right after the shooting in Atlanta. So our director in Lit was Filipino as well, and we had another Asian cast member, and we all on that the night before filming, we all were together and we were talking about how it's a hard time to make theater. We acknowledged what had happened, and we had a collective Midsommar scream cry together. um and then yeah, one of the people in Lit who's also a Filipino artist was like, hey, AJ's doing a project, are you gonna do it? And I was like, yeah, I think that's important for me right now. So I auditioned, and I was really afraid I wasn't gonna get in because I don't know. That's the story. That's my story. Popcorning it to whoever else.
Isabella, I'm gonna make you go.
It's either me or Lauren. um, like AJ said, I stumbled onto HIRAYA off of TikTok. My good friend Vanessa had sent it to me and was like, "Hey, like this is a San Diego-based Filipino creation, and I think that you would have fun with this." And I had like word vomit emailed AJ and was like, "Hi, it's 3 in the morning and I don't know how to feel about anything going on in the world, but this looks like a lot of fun and I'm going through a lot of things and I'm sure you're going through a lot of things and this isn't professional in the absolute slightest and we don't know each other, but this looks like a lot of fun and I want to make fun things with you. Send." Um, that's pretty close to exactly what I wrote. And I yeah. That's how I joined HIRAYA. Lauren.
I guess I'll go. I joined Hiraya right out of high school. I graduated, and I was supposed to go away to San Jose State. I live in San Diego, but it just didn't feel right for me. And so how do you say, I had like took away my acceptance or whatever. And then I was just in a very not dark place, but in a place where I felt extremely confused and I needed something to channel my creative energy into and just to make myself feel better, because I didn't know what I was going to do at home at community college for 2 more years. And I was just very much struggling with myself and my mental health. And so I stumbled upon AJ's casting call, I think through the internet or someone from my family showed it to me. And I was like, yeah, I'll audition, I'll go for it. And even though I didn't act in it, I sent in an audition tape, which is really funny because that was my first time in a very long time doing a tape. And I am in my bathroom and like my like tablecloth is like pinned up against the wall. It's so like the most unprofessional setting ever. And I had to figure out how to crop like it to make sure that no wall is showing. It's like the funniest tape ever. And then I edited all of my outtakes like into one thing. So I'll like send it to you guys in the group chat. It's so stupid. But yeah, I sent it in. I was also just such in a clouded mental space at that time that I literally sent the tape in, I think 2 weeks late. I like emailed AJ and I was like, yo, I'm sorry. Like I forgot to send it in. I'm so sorry. But yeah, I sent it in. AJ said that all the parts were casted, and I was like, okay, sick. But then she offered me a role as an associate director, and I was like, oh my gosh, of course. I love directing. I did it in high school. This is awesome. And so I did that, and it was great. Yeah.
So I have a question then for AJ, who I know it's really important. As you see, usually for behind the scenes, it's like what us, a host, and another person. But just like, can I have my cast? Can I have my crew? How many people can I invite? And I'm like, we can do 6 at most on StreamYard. Like there's a logistical stop. But I'm glad to have all of you. And so AJ, my question for you is, what did putting it together look like with like casting and crew, and why do you feel it's so important that when you talk about Hiraya, like even when we were at the Merienda, you kept mentioning like your cast and your crew and giving props to them, and it's weird because you want to be like, oh, that's a normal thing, but it's not. So I want to ask you, like, what was it like putting this all together with all these different people that you're meeting in these different spaces, and why is it important for you that they also have a voice? Yes.
Yeah, that's a beautiful question. Thank you. And I can also help out with questions. I can, we can pass the baton and ask all of us, including Trixie, about this. Um, it it wasn't easy. I think no one here, a part of this project, is going to sit here and lie to you and say that we all came together and it was kumbaya and it was perfect and things turned out it just didn't. But luckily, what was so striking for me, because it was my first time truly independently creating and producing something, was the response, and the eagerness from not just these women, but every single person involved, from our filmmaker, from our cinematographer, from our costume folks and our design folks. Like, there's truly interest and there's truly love out there for this kind of work. And I had to be upfront with every single person and say, look, this is going to be a volunteer position. This is not, unfortunately, I don't have the funding yet or the grants yet to promise or give you a contract. But ironically enough, it made them relentlessly accept, because they believed in the cause and they believed in the story. And I think they believed in a bunch of Filipina young women trying to create something important. And I know hindsight is 2020, but during that time, we didn't know what we were getting ourselves into. And bringing and gathering everyone together is a lesson that I think hopefully everyone involved will take away as something valuable to learn about what it's really like to do this type of work, especially work that is of service and not work that necessarily is going to give you millions or grant you fame or of success in that traditional way. But it was reaffirming to gather everyone together and all these different personalities and all these talented people who exist and who love the work is really important. And I think, and obviously anyone else can continue this conversation, but I guess my next question would be like, to my cast and to Lauren and to even Trixie, it's like, what do you see, or how do you acknowledge that the work you're doing in the moment, despite it being difficult, is actually something that is greater than yourself and is important to continue on doing? Because I know I personally had issues remembering that. And yeah, so I'll just let that marinate and then someone else can pick that up.
Lauren, go.
I was like I was like zoning off. I was like, that is beautiful. Like I was really into your answer. Oh my gosh. I don't know. Going off of like the last question that AJ asked, I guess the moment I realized like, wow, like we are truly like just all together as like one cohesive unit was when I actually pulled some actors and actresses and crew members aside to do little interviews for a possible, like, not a possible, it's going to happen, behind the scenes little documentary thing. And we were all answering these questions, and a lot of our answers were the same. Like, we've never seen truly like accurate, feel good, unapologetic Asian American representation in our communities. And we all felt the same way about it. Like, we were all like, it feels very weird to love what you do and to love your craft, but to not see yourself accurately represented. And we were all hurt by this in certain ways. And it was just really cool to know that we're all coming together to create something that we all love together and that a lot of people need, especially during this time. And it was truly just a labor of love. Like, everything that we put into this project was just truly from such a pure place of love and acceptance. And I think that's when I realized that like this is a project that everybody needs to see, because it's just so, I don't know, it's just so like beautiful and like universally like just a wonderful thing to see. So yeah, I guess that's when I realized that like this is something that's bigger than everybody here. I'm popcorning it over to whoever, sorry.
Go, Kaylee, go.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
You can't. If we're gonna, okay, now for now when we do popcorn, someone has to pick who it's going to. That's our rule now.
Woo! Okay, so I'm thinking really hard about this, but honestly, going back to the interview that we had with Lauren, I was watching other people be interviewed, and there are questions about like, what Asian representation have you seen in the media? Like, what kind of stuff did you grow up watching? And I realized that a lot of the stuff that I saw in media and currently see in media are Asian people like making art for other Asian people, and that's like awesome. I think that's there's nothing wrong with that. As an artist myself, I've been since I was really young trying to just create space for myself as an Asian artist by going for things that I wouldn't traditionally be in. But in doing that, I think there's a catch-22. So like I've been doing a lot of things that are traditionally white, doing shows where I'm traditionally playing, or whoa, doing a lot of shows where I'm playing a traditionally white character as an Asian person, and I've literally never had the opportunity to be myself, to like show my heritage in a piece. So that's what Hiraya was for me. And I think it was really important for me to do this project because I had to think critically about what being an artist and being an Asian person in America, how that has affected the way I see myself. And it was a lot of hard work. And I still every day have to introspect and like try to break down the kind of things that have been set in my brain that are telling me that there isn't space for me as an artist in certain areas. And I don't even remember what the question was. I just went on a really long rant.
You're still answering it. You're doing great.
Yeah, it's really hard. It's really difficult to keep moving and to keep going when you're getting rejected for things that are entirely out of control, like how you look next to other people, like how tall you are, how young you look, how you bring such a youth and beauty that just like we can't do anything with this. What are we gonna? You're so exotic. What are we gonna do with you? Like you're also like, how are we gonna put you in a Victorian English setting? You don't look right. Like all of these. Have imagination. How about that? Anyways, it's hard. It's hard, and but it's a fight that as people of color or as AAPI people, women, gotta keep fighting, or else it's never gonna be won. That battle's never gonna be won. Isabel, it's your turn. That's what I'm popcorning it off to.
All I hear is have imagination. um, representation aside, we know how important that is. But I realized how important doing Hiraya was when I was practicing lines from it, or even just like reading out loud what we were writing up and then like deleting it and then retyping it and just seeing what it sounded like. That I would remember I was in my bedroom and my mom walked past. Like she walked down the hallway and I was terrified that she was going to hear me. And yeah, I know. That I realized I was like, why am I so scared she's going to hear this? These are problems that I don't just face, that she faces and that she grew up with, and that like confronting those things and knocking out that generational trauma by having these conversations with those both older and younger than us is how we are going to solve these problems. And I think that Hadaya is a great way of not just starting those conversations, but like showing the possible outcomes of them to be like, here's some relief for trauma. Hopefully some relief. But yeah, that was the moment when I was so scared that my mom was going to hear this monologue, and then I was like, no, I want her to hear this. I want to have these conversations with her because I love her, and I hope that other people who struggle with their with their heritage problems, cultural problems. I don't know the right word for that, but um, whoever else has um, those issues would see an outlet. Ta-da!
That was beautiful. I am having a hard time being like, what was AJ's original question? Because it's gone from my head now. But from reflecting back on what I'm hearing you guys say, um, going back to what AJ said, like there was no pay, but obviously everyone like really like banded together, and everyone at least here, like obviously you can hear their passion in their voice when they talk about this and the importance of it. And it just kind of goes to show you like when art, like important art is priceless, right? And like if it's important because it's something that you really like connect with, or it's important because it is bigger than you, because really a lot of the times it's bigger than us. Like, you know, there aren't very many things written out there where someone was like, yeah, this is my specific life and it doesn't pertain to anyone else. Watch it. And then it becomes successful. Like what you guys did, like was bigger than just yourselves, but also was really personal. And so like that, again, like all of that is priceless. And it just goes to show you like that's how art lives, you know, and I do believe that people obviously should be paid for their work. But I feel like if we just throw, and this is my opinion, like if art is just based on capitalism again, it will just die, because then that just means only certain people are making art. People who have the money to like pay people, only those people will be making art. And that's sad, because art should be an expression of everyone, and everyone has different things to say. And going back to what Kaylee does, yeah, they need to have freaking like imagination. People need to have imagination. And you know what? Bridgerton, look at Bridgerton, everyone. It's fine. Like it's fine. You can cast whoever you want. And then plus that, like I love that like this was created so specifically to be about like Filipinas and have that, because that representation really is important. Like for me personally, I'm tired of reboots, because within those reboots, most of those people, even if it's a diverse cast now, it's still basically like you don't really see their culture. Their skin color is just different. So how different is that? You know? So making stuff like this, making it personal, making it like stories that haven't been heard, I feel like is really important. And again, really why like you guys have had such like an amazing time creating it and why other people need to watch it. And this is my next question for you guys. And I will popcorn it to one of you. Is that how was it like creating it as a film when I think you guys are mostly like theater people, or like I think originally it was like stage work. We're thinking stage work, but then it became a film. So how was that? How was it different when you were acting, when you were shooting, or just like performing? How was that different for all of you making that transition? I'm gonna go to Isabella.
It was interesting while we were writing it because we were like, this is going to be a live thing, but we're also going to film it so we can kind of cheat these things out with a camera, or we can edit this in later. So we'll write it this way, but we'll know that it goes this way. But I kind of have an idea for it to go this way. I don't know how this would go if somebody else did it without talking to us so that we could explain what that meant. But you know what? I like it. I like it. It is a it was a hot mess. A mess, but a hot one. And it was fun. Hot fun mess. I have so much in my vocabulary. Right, Lauren?
Yeah, she's so real for that. Also, with our filming, it was so funny because we were by the airport, and so every single it's filmed like it's like a stage piece, but it's filmed, so it like goes on live. But like every single time a plane would come, we'd be like, hold, 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 no one speak, everybody stay in your position, and then we're like, okay, action, go. And then it was just that for like 12 hours straight. It was just so funny, but it took a long time, but it was just so freaking fun because we were just all together. And like during our breaks, we would just be joking around. Our person in charge of lights, Devaney, brought a bed, so we would all just lay on the bed all together and like take naps in between scenes when it got super, like when we all got super tired. It was just an amazing time. Like it was awesome.
It's like a middle school sleepover in our 20s. It's like, you like put on a performance for your parents, but it was like so serious. That's how that felt.
Also, sorry, my mom's in the comments, so I just want to say hi, Mom. That's it.
Who are you popcorning it to? I guess I'll talk. I honestly, okay, so Hiraya was my second filmed thing, my second thing where we have to do a stage piece that is filmed in one day. You have one day to get it right, folks. And for me, as a theater actor, I can do like the marathon of a show, no matter like how intense it is. I can do that, and I can do 2 in one day. But a 12-hour shoot knocks the absolute sauce out of me. So it was really challenging that way. Also, I feel like having the mentality in my brain like, oh, it's okay if I mess up because we can always refilm it. It for me, I feel like totally altered the way that I worked, which was interesting. Because there's definitely only one chance in theater, and if something goes wrong, like you have to fix it right there. But I guess just having it in my brain like, oh, I can, yeah, I still felt like, oh, I can do this out of 50, and then we'll do like another take and I can do this at 100%. But so it was like a learning curve that way, where I just had to work differently and be on every time I was on camera. as opposed to like being like, okay, I have to really knock this scene out of the park, but I'm gonna get a break in the next scene, and like totally knowing how things are gonna go. Somehow more unpredictable than stage for me. But yeah, fun and wild. And I'll pass it to our lovely director AJ.
Thank you. Yes. I mean, here's the thing with film, it's very forgiving, but it's also another world, right? It's like theater's evil twin. You have a lot of pros and cons that you don't get from theater. And I love live theater. I love anything that's live, and I love anything that's done in the moment for the sake of presence and the sake of suspension of disbelief. But we don't have a budget. We didn't have a budget. I'm sure a lot of us can say that a lot of things were bought through our personal money. And so that currency kind of eradicated the dream of doing this live for an audience with a theater, because let's face it, theater costs money. It's really expensive to produce and to perform a live show, especially with the script that we had and the way we approached the writing. It's devised so we had beautiful ideas and beautiful imaginations all coming together at once. And my goal then was that to really honor those imaginations is to, you know, use it as a film and bring in the magic that way, so that at the very least we can get an idea of what this looks like if it were to be staged in a theater. However, we'll still get the beautiful effects of film and editing and post-production to still tell the story. And so that's been a challenge in and of it's very new to me. I'm sure it's very new to all of us. Kaylee and I, again, we met like for the first time, probably doing like a filmed theater show like that in the same capacity. But it was a challenge that, and I'm very delusional, right? I think that's a big thing about my work. And, you know, I'm big and I'm visceral and I'm delusional. And so for some reason, I thought it would be, and it was, it's not that it wasn't, but it's very possible. It's very possible to still tell this story through film. And it was a challenge that I'm glad we worked through. And it was a huge learning lesson. And so I don't regret it. And I think it was so unique, especially given the time zone and the timeline we're in post-pandemic and post-pandemic theater. I found it to be a tool that I think hopefully we will all use moving further into our individual careers. So that's my answer to that.
I think being delusional is really important. And having that trust and knowing, and not just yourself, but in the people you're with, and especially that in that knowing that what you are trying to say is important. And so it's kind of just like, whatever, this is important. We're gonna make a thing. We're gonna make art about it. We're gonna talk about it because it's just that important. Like perfection, whatever, who cares? That I just feel like that attitude is, I don't know, that is art to me. That, you know, when you really do make something that where like what it's about is way more important than like basically your ego, right? Like you not caring that this doesn't look like a feature film ready to go on Netflix right now. Like who cares? Because the story matters, the people matter, especially with all the hate and all the scary times for everyone, but like specifically in regards to this piece, like, you know, like Stop Asian Hate and all the women who've lost their lives and everyone like who's afraid because they're Asian now, and you know, all that is so heavy, but it needs to be talked about. And I feel like what you guys did was so beautiful because, you know, out of that heartache and out of those like very like sometimes helpless needs, like you did this. This is what you made. You put back joy into the world, which is important when the world is so freaking hard and sad sometimes. And I guess my question to that was, how was it being able to have a community of Filipino? I know your whole cast and crew wasn't just women, but to have each other in that sense while all of this was going on. How is it having that community, and how has it changed your perspective about what community can mean and what art can do for the community? And I'm going to start with Kaylee.
Me. um Let me think. So I feel like it's been super enriching and healing. Like I said before, I've for the longest time I've been performing in spaces where there aren't people that are like me. And I've kind of just had to like assimilate into the space. So to be able to talk about things that I don't feel like other people can relate to sometimes, openly, and to be met with understanding, has been really refreshing and healing again. Yeah, I that's the short and dirty. I have nothing else to say. Let me pass it on to Lauren.
All right. Honestly, it just everybody immediately, I know that there were men in our production, but like just everybody who I mainly like hung out with, like you guys are just all my older sisters. That's what it felt like. Like I said, like I am the youngest. I was fresh out of high school. I didn't know what to do. I'm sorry, Bella. But like we were just all so close, so fast. Like I remember thinking like these are a group of people that I could just be myself around and be so like unapologetically out there and outgoing. I remember, and I literally regret every single day that I wasn't recording. There's this one moment, I think Rio just paused. It was on one of our filming days. She looked around and she like said to all of us, she was like, it just feels so nice to be in a room full of all of these creative Filipino women. It's so empowering. And it was just like, I was just like, God, I say it again, please. Like, I wish I got it on film, but I mean, there's this now. But yeah, it was just so wonderful. It was really the most accepting space I've ever been in for theater and film. And honestly, like it made me just want to not only like be a better artist, but just be a better person. Like it was a beautiful space to be in. And like, if I could be in it again with you guys, like I would totally do it again. Like that, it was awesome. Bella, you can go now.
It's not like we could, but we could. Um, what was the question? Just here to bully Lauren.
The community. What was it like being in the community? She's just bullying Lauren, I guess, is her
So
answer.
good. Ooh, I would say this with a disclaimer. I love all of my friends. My best friends are the absolute world to me. I've never had other Filipino friends. So I've never like been in a space with other Filipinos that like I wasn't related to. So to like have people like Lauren, I saw that. I've just to like have other people that like weren't my cousins be able to like have stories. I remember like there was one time that we were like, are your families also just superstitious for no reason? I'm like, yeah, and all of us had different family superstitions. All of us were crazy and none of them made sense, but we all had different superstitions, but we all had a superstition, and that was a fun time for me. Um, but yeah, so it was very like it was like healing like an inner child sort of thing because I've never had that before, and now I have you guys. Don't make me cry. AJ, go. Lauren, stop it.
No, wait, I'm so sorry. Also, before that, no, it really was like a family because Isabella one day, she was like, Lauren, I'm going to do your makeup. And she sat me in the chair and she did my makeup the ugliest, like, and she knew she was doing it bad. She was like, I'm going to do your makeup and you're going to look so good. She made my eyebrows so dark. She gave me like the worst wings like in the world. Like she was really playing older sister to me. And like, it was like mean older sister, but yeah.
Ooh, she had so much trust in me and she made such a big mistake doing it. Go, AJ, go.
That's like an initiation. Like you just had to go through that to be part of the family. I think one of the best things about community and about this community is that we're constantly reminding each other of the lessons learned. And so you have our youngest, Lauren, who is fresh out of high school, and then you have our oldest in the group who are starting careers, are young career young filmmakers, young theater artists, post college. And so what the best part is, yes, of course, the bonds and that we've made and the friendships, but the best part is getting to look at myself from the past through Lauren, through or even seeing myself from yesterday when I had imposter syndrome through my other cast members, and sitting there and actually reminding them. And I maybe this is because it's a director thing and you want the best for your artists, but to sit and remind them like, oh, I go through this exact same thing too, but you can make it out on the other side. You can do the thing. You can be an artist. I'll hook you up with this job. You should talk to this person. If you need training, you should check this guy. Like there's something beautiful about being that older sister and being that younger sister in the group, and absorbing everyone's life experience together, because I do think there's not an experience so niche, right, as being a daughter of a Filipino family who is pursuing the arts. That is such if you take a step back, that is very, very particular and specific. And it's a specific life that we've chosen. And to be able to be in a room like with 15 other Filipino women who knew exactly what was going on and how that happened. Don't count it, Bella, because I don't think that's accurate of a number. Is really empowering, and it's very healing. I know we say that word a lot, but it's also it's a great reminder, which is why I think the community was important. It was a great reason to keep going, and hopefully, my hope is that everyone felt the same way.
Before we move on, I wanted to just extend a thank you to AJ for like creating this little tiny microcosm and community for us, because I really do feel like AJ's been like such a rock throughout the whole process from the beginning. Like as a whole and individually, with me straight up going to her, my neurotic self being like, I don't want to work in food service. I'm like, what am I gonna do for my job, AJ? Like, can you help me find a job in theater? Or like, just like, yeah, it's like all the little things, like being able to like share struggles as artists and to be able to relate and to have a space to do that, and to like never feel like you can't be yourself, even though we have this thing that we're doing that we have to like come in and put work in. It's been so nice, and thank you, AJ, so much.
Yeah, thank you.
AJ is the nicest director I've ever met in my entire life. Like, she's too nice for her own good. Like, everything was always like, you feel this way and your feelings are validated. You can go sit in a corner and feel those feelings. Fuck it. You can take a day off and feel those feelings. And then you can bring that back and like use that in your work. And has like, I've never had a more like accepting and supportive and like warm-hearted director. Stop it. I can't be sentimental for that long. Stop. Also, her mom makes the best lumpia.
Shout out to my mom. Shout out to my parents. They pulled through. They really did the thing with they were producers. They produced the show. Thank y'all. I do want to say real quick to add on to is one that should be bare minimum if you're a rude director and if you think it's okay to talk down and patronize your artists, I don't ever want to work with you. And two, it's very easy when you have an amazing set of women to work with. But at the same time, I also want to say that this space was also very empowering in the sense that we could be loud. That's really important for me. We could be loud. We could say whatever we wanted, you know, within reason. And we could be sexy. And I know that's it's not even in particular to Haraya itself or the film itself, but there is something what is it? There is something rebellious, right, about having a bunch of young Filipino women screaming at the top of their lungs without shame and wearing whatever they wanted without shame and, you know, talking about their bodies without shame. And I just wanted to highlight that because that's a space I've never been a part of and never thought existed until we gathered these beautiful women to do this show. So that's just something I wanted to add on.
Stop it.
That's all so beautiful. That's great. I mean, honestly, especially for me, especially the being loud resonates with me because we're not supposed to be loud, but I'm very loud. But you know, that's not what you expect of Filipinos or Asian women in general. It's usually just like, why aren't you quiet? Why aren't you just quiet and good at math? And I'm like, well, I'm very loud and I'm very bad at math. So too bad.
My dyslexia is fuming.
Yo, right? That stuff's real. It makes me so joyful to hear all of your experiences and to the fact that you guys got to experience this. And I guess I'm saying this from like as like an older person, like it's so cool that you got to experience that like before 30. Like, and like that's like, but it's kind of real, right? Like Kaylee was saying earlier, like a lot of times we're in spaces where we're just like this person and we don't get the different facets of ourselves acknowledged. They don't even exist, you know, and people can't even see the different facets of Filipino women because there's only one of them on stage. So now they've become this monolith. So it makes me really happy to hear your guys' experience and your experience of community. Also, just because you know now, like you said, I think AJ said this, you didn't know it was possible, but now you know it's possible. And when you know things like that are possible and communities can exist like that art can exist like that, then you know you can replicate it again. And I feel like that's the beautiful part of really finding a community that's so loving is that now you know that exists and now you kind of know how to do that. So like you can bring that to other spaces yourself and you can also now protect yourself from other spaces where you're like, nah, dude, like I've had, you know, like I know what this could look like and I know what real care really looks like, so I'm going to step away or at least like, you know, defend myself in this place. So again, it makes me really like joyful and happy to hear all your experiences and the fact that like you women get to take that out with you where you go and create more joy in that and like create art that again is like meaningful but also like loving within the creating itself, which sometimes or a lot of time there isn't a lot of that. And we okay, so we're drawing to a close here. I don't know what I want my last question to be. I don't know. I don't know what I want it to be. Because I feel like we covered a lot and then like going somewhere else would be like super random. So this is really going to be my last thing then. So we have time for outros and stuff and shameless plugs where you can tell us where we can find you and all that stuff. What is one thing we didn't talk about that you want to say about Haraya or like your experience that you want everyone to know? Yeah. And I'll give you like a second to think by just like babbling on here. Saying again, this was really wonderful and I'm really excited. and I've only seen a little bit of it at the Merienda, but it was really cool and it was really powerful just what I saw. So again, I'm really excited that this exists. And now I'm going to popcorn it to AJ.
Okay, so I will preface this by saying it's still, the film is being edited, and I know it's taking its sweet old time. But if there is one thing I want to say about the process of Haraya is it wasn't easy, and we only post the highlights, and we only talk about the highlights, and we only talk now again in hindsight, in retrospect, about the beauty of this journey that we were on. But the greatest lesson I learned was that great things take time. And even then, taking as much time as you need will not produce the best work you're ever going to make. And I have surrendered, truthfully surrendered the standard of perfection and the standard of a good film as an artist for this, because yes, I think our work is great. I do. I think it's of a certain caliber that I think we've tried our best in. But I also think that it's okay that it is a draft of something that is going to build upon itself in our own individual careers and lives, as well as the life of the project itself. And so, what am I saying? Oh, and so, in terms of editing it, I want to give it the time it deserves, and I want to give it the proper attention it needs to be of its best in this moment. And because we're also and we're fundraising, and we're trying to do this as a means of livelihoods for a lot of these organizations, it's important to me to do this with care and with time, and that it's okay to take the time to do that. And if there's, yeah, that's probably the one last thing I'd want to say. Giving ourselves grace and forgiving ourselves, and for being proud of ourselves that this is something we created out of nothing, truthfully. That's my two piece of thoughts that I wanted to share on that, and I will popcorn it to Lauren.
All right, that was a really intense question. But I mean, it's just, who wouldn't want to see a film that was built on the foundation of just true unconditional love for each other and for the story and for our craft and the work that we do? Like, who wouldn't want to watch something that incredible? This film is truly, it's so much heart and soul is put into it, and you're missing out if you don't watch it. That's all I'm going to say. So don't be a loser and watch it. That's my closing words. Bella, you can go.
You're a loser. Uh, if there is any last thing that Hiraya has taught me, it is that there is a multitude of things that can be healed over a dinner, on the floor, and a good conversation. Stop it, Lauren. If you've ever had ube bread with ube butter on the floor with 6 women and a couple of their boyfriends that have never tried Filipino food in their life, that shit is life changing, and that will heal you. That will give you some peace for the week. That was, I don't know, I wanted to talk about that because that was so much fun. And even like in the show, we have like moments of just eating dinner together, and it's like that really brings us all together. It's food. Kaylee.
I want to echo AJ and say that this was definitely, for my personal self, probably like one of the most difficult projects that I've had to ever do. Like, probably the most difficult project I've ever had to do. And there are things where I was sick, screaming, crying, like on stage, like having simulated sex with someone on, like, crazy vulnerable things that I've had to do on stage. And this, it has been the most naked I've ever had to be doing something. So yeah, I just want to again extend my gratitude for the space to do this kind of work. It's like nothing that I've ever done before, and I feel compelled to make more naked emotionally art, more like loud and real things. And I feel empowered to do that myself, because I had to do a lot of writing for this project as well. And I encourage others to not be afraid of sharing themselves through their art that way. And yeah, just thank you. And I hope that you enjoy our work as much as we enjoyed making it.
That was amazing, all of you. Thank you. So we will make one more pass around where this is like shameless plug time. And I will ask the people here to put their like handles or whatever in the comments. You can do that as like now. And again, I'll give you a little time to start before we popcorn off, and you can say all that stuff out loud and then continue to type it. But again, thank you for some of the cast and crew of HIRAYA for being here today. This is really beautiful to get to hear and share in the joy that you had with each other. Go ahead, AJ, and put it like in the comments because no one can actually read that. Like it's getting cut off. Like I'm pretty sure it's like just
Oh
.com.
no.
Oh, there you go. Well, it just says it. There you go. That's better. I was like, why is it cut off? You're fine now. Okay, but yes, you can
Okay.
also share in the comments. So let's start with AJ, and then we'll just popcorn it on, and everyone can say, where they could be found and all that good stuff.
Great. Thank you. I just want to say thank you, Trixie, for allowing us to come today and speak on this platform. One last thing, and then I'll shut up. Also, you can tell when there's a difference between truth and storytelling. And I promise you, if there's anything else that you're missing, is the one thing you'll find in HIRAYA is truth. So you can find me on at MSAJAY on Instagram, and apuan.com is my website. Yeah. Lauren, you go.
All right, my @ is Lauren with 2 N's Delmar, and that's where you can find me. Bella, go.
Hi. You can find me on Instagram or TikTok at _ Isabella Joy, ISABELLAJOY. Kaylee?
I don't know how to use technology, but I'll change it right now. My Instagram is Kaylee Potato. There you go. I just typed it out. That's my Instagram handle. And yeah, I'm doing things in the community. Come be with me. Come meet me and let's do stuff. That's terrible. Just never listen to anything I've ever said. Like, don't listen to.
I love not giving Kaylee a script. It's so good. She's just out here. You have to go to her page if you want to know what she's doing.
It's cool. That was amazing. Thank you for that. That was hilarious. But thank you again for the cast of cast and crew HIRAYA. I'm assuming AJ, when if we're following you guys, we'll know when it's coming out and what's going to be there. So you guys got to follow.
Yeah.
You got to
Yeah.
follow so that you can like see what we're talking about and everything. Because honestly, it's so beautiful. So again, thank you guys for coming here. Thank you for being part of Behind the Scene. We do this every last Tuesday of the month. We either do Behind the Scene or Let's Make a Scene, where like we have like a Mad Lib script, and it's like part improv, and all of you are welcome to either come and be the director of that, where you have to like write a 5-page Mad Lib script, or you can come and act and then just be at the disposal of whatever the director wants you to do. Which is really fun. Super like high hilarity, but super low stakes because it's just like us on Zoom, like doing stuff like this, but it's really fun. So you're all welcome to that. And I hope I get to see you all and talk to you all soon. And thank you for everyone who's been watching and who will be watching in the future. Again, please follow these wonderful, wonderful women and follow their careers and just look out for HIRAYA to like come out and blast the world in its face with beauty and all that good stuff. Okay, guys, bye.